The death penalty. Should Israel give the death penalty to the Hamas terrorists who committed the worst atrocities to humanity on October 7, 2023? This question has recently aroused in Israel and throughout the world. Should Israel give the death penalty to these terrorist murders? Israel, there is capital punishment, there is the death penalty. However, it was only used once, and that was for Eichmann, the notorious Nazi murderer who was put to death. That was the only time capital punishment in Israel was used. So the question now is, there are those that have been captured, that are in prison right now, who were the murderers with their own bare hands, were the ones who raped, murdered, burnt, killed young children, adults, men, women, indiscriminately, innocent citizens. Such murderers that we haven't seen since the Holocaust. Should they be put to death? Should we use the death penalty and kill them? Now, why is that even a question? Why should it be a question? No doubtedly, what they have done on October 7 cannot go unanswered. So the question is the death penalty allowed in Jewish law? And should Israel offer them the death penalty to these notorious, terrible human beings? Well, if we look in the Torah, in the Bible, there's a very interesting verse. And it sounds a little repetitious. It says, "Justice, justice you shall pursue." What does it mean, justice, justice? Why is it repetitious? We know in the book of the Torah and the Bible, every letter is accounted for. When you have a Torah scroll, if one letter is missing, then the whole Torah scroll becomes invalid. You cannot use it. We cannot read from it. It loses its sacredness. But every letter is imperative. Every word is imperative. And yet there seems to be a redundancy of the word tzedek, tzedek tirdof, justice, justice you shall pursue. So our sages explain that when it comes to pursuing justice, even that needs to be done with justice. So that capital punishment is not about taking revenge. Taking revenge is not what justice is about. Justice is about making it right, being just. That we must rule a society with just. In Judaism, we know, we have declared, we have always said these words, that we value life more than anything else. We are a religion that's about the living, about pursuing life and preserving life and keeping life as sacred as possible to the very last breath of life. We try to extend life as long as possible. Saving one person is saving a whole world. So how can we put someone to death? The Torah, the Bible, does have provisions when capital punishment needs to be used. Yes, it does exist. As a matter of fact, in the Jewish court of law, even though the criteria for capital punishment are existent, it was almost never ever used. Just like in Israel in the last 77 years, since its rebirth in 1948, only one person had capital punishment, and that was Adolf Eichmann. So why then should we even consider capital punishment? When a person is born to live and to help life live on. A person's journey in life is to preserve life. When you live a life of living and you are assisting others to live and you are there for the greater world of life, then you have earned yourself the right to live, and your life should be preserved till its end. But when you have forfeited your right to live by not only murdering someone, but murdering so savagely, so barbaric, it wasn't just an accidental death. It wasn't a death that happened by some type of an inadvertent error or accident. This was deliberate, barbaric, disgusting, lowest type of murder possible. By doing that, you have forfeited your right for your life to be protected. You have defeated any purpose of existing on this world. You no longer are an ambassador from God to this world. You have demonstrated that by your actions. And that is where the Torah talks about capital punishment. It's about someone who has given up the value of another person's life. Thus, their life has become valueless. They are no longer have any value to this world or to society. So capital punishment is not about vengeance. It's not about taking revenge for what you have done, but it's rather about bringing justice to the world. Justice for the victims, justice for the families of the victims, to know that the one who perpetrated, the one who committed these hideous crimes should be brought to justice. The justice has to be followed by justice. That, in other words, it needs to be done not because you are going to do an eye for an eye and you're going to kill the person because they killed. That shouldn't be the guiding factor in the capital punishment. But the guiding factor in the judgment of capital punishment is all about justice, about setting the record straight to run a society, that there is accountability, that there's responsibility of humans upon each other. I can relate at some level to this question. On April 27, 2019, 6 years ago, I was in my synagogue that my wife and I built from the ground up right here in Poway, a northern suburb of San Diego. It was the last day of Passover, when a 19-year-old next-door neighbor, white American boy, broke into our synagogue, breached the walls of our synagogue with an AR-15. And he aimed and killed Lori Lynn Gilbert Kay right in front of my eyes as I was talking to her in the lobby. He then lifted up the rifle to kill me. Children were playing behind me, and I had that split of a second what to do. And I decided that I need to save the children as quickly as I could. And as I began running towards the children, he opened fire with 4 powerful bullets, shooting off both of these fingers. But the rest of me survived. Members of the congregation bravely rushed him out of the synagogue. He did not get to change his cartridge and kill everyone that he was planning to. He came with enough ammunition to kill the 50 of us that were there. But he only killed Lori Lynn Gilbert Kay. He got away and then eventually surrendered. The question came about, should this 19-year-old get the capital punishment? Should he be put to death in response to the death that he caused on Lori Lynn Gilbert Kay? And I have thought about it. And I've thought about it time and time again. And realizing that this 19-year-old, who had a whole life ahead of him, chose to end his life the day he took that AR-15 in his hand. The moment he took another person's life away, he no longer remained a human being. He's no longer been created in God's image. He's no longer representing humanity. And this young man chose to give his life up. He chose his own death by killing another beautiful human being for no reason other than because Lori Lynn Gilbert Kay was Jewish. He came to my synagogue because we were a Jewish synagogue. He tried to kill me and assassinate me. He did not succeed. True, he is languishing away for the rest of his life in prison, federal and state. But the question of capital punishment, does he deserve to live? Tzedek, tzedek tirdof. Justice needs to be followed by justice. Israel currently is at war. What occurred on October 7 was not just a crime of murder. It was a war crime. These savage, barbaric, subhuman beings decided to breach the borders of Gaza and to rape, kill, murder, burn, behead, mangle beautiful, innocent citizens. They do not deserve to continue on living on this world. They need to be eradicated. Death, evil, needs to be eradicated from this world. So the question to the answer is, should Israel exercise the death penalty? That will allow their justice system to follow it. But when we look in the Bible, we see capital punishment is there for a reason. It's not just there to snuff out life from a monster, from a murderer, from a satanic individual, but it's more of setting justice, setting rules and regulations, a judicial system, not only as a deterrent, but also to eradicate amidst from us this evilness, this darkness that exists. I, as a survivor of a terrorist attack, of a mass shooting, have made it my mission in life, after surviving this horrific event, to bring light into the world. A little bit of light pushes away a lot of darkness. How much more so a lot of light? When we encounter darkness the way I did, the way October 7 did, our response is to double down and to really strengthen our life, to want to live and to support life and to do whatever we can. As much as the forces were for death and for darkness, we counter it with life and living. We create families, we build institutions of education, we give good education, we live by good examples, we do random acts of goodness and kindness, we say good words, we are complimentary of others, we hug each other, we show unconditional love to each other, to total strangers. We truly demonstrate what it means to be God's ambassador in the world, that there is the polar opposite. The opposite of evil is light. The opposite of darkness is light. The opposite of evil is good. You and I have that opportunity to make this happen. The Maimonides tells us we all need to be like on a balancing scale. The scales of justice, the scales of the world are like this. One more good deed, one more good thought, one more action will tilt the scale in our favor and bring redemption to the whole world. Do not underestimate your ability to be the one to tilt the scale. Every day is a meaningful day. Every day is a purposeful day. Every good deed is a good deed that will be counted for the best. So let's not worry about the death penalty, but let's worry about the living. Let's worry about doing whatever we can to support life, promote life, and keep the living alive at any cost. And then ultimately, by us doing our best, God will do the rest. God bless you. God loves you.